Hello, everyone. My name is Tamara Shani, and I am the client executive for culinary services for Lutheran Social Ministries at Maryland. We're here today to talk to you about nutrition and eating well, aging well.
And my name's Carol Valle, and I'm the registered dietitian. I work up here at Carroll Lutheran Village in Westminster. I work in the healthcare center as well as in our assisted living community and sometimes out in our residential living community, just helping people with diet and good nutrition.
And as a certified dietary manager, I work closely with the residents as well, planning their menus and how they can eat well every day, dining in our dining venues. So we're here today to talk about eating well, aging well, and some tools that you can use at home to really be very healthy in your eating habits.
So I just wanted to start out by saying that obviously nutrition is important at every age in your life, from the moment you were born until whatever age you happen to be right now. And your body's nutrient needs do change with different periods of your life. So obviously as a newborn, with your growth spurts, your calorie needs are through the roof. Your needs for everything during pregnancy, illness, injury. And then as we get older, as we develop certain diseases or conditions, your nutrition needs would change, maybe with diabetes, chronic kidney disease, cardiovascular disease, different things. Your nutrient needs change. But the one basic principle never ever changes with nutrition is that you always just need a very well-balanced diet. And most people think of the word diet as something restrictive. But diet is basically what you eat, what your diet is. What you could be on a vegetarian diet, you could be any type of diet that you want. So try not to look at diet as a restrictive word. Diet is basically what you eat. And the biggest thing you need from your diet is energy. Energy comes in the form of calories. So if you look at a car, to run a car, you need gas. To run your body, you need energy. And that energy comes in the form of calories, and that runs all of your bodily functions. You get your calories from carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And you get the carbohydrates, proteins, and fats from a variety of foods. I often get people who will ask me, well, that's a good food, right? Or that's a bad food. I personally don't really think that there are any good foods or bad foods unless they're foods that cause you harm. So if you're a diabetic, sugar isn't necessarily bad, but it's something that you need to monitor, the amount that you take in, the frequency you take it in, what you eat it with. But there's really no good foods or bad foods. We're just looking at foods as a whole and nutrition as a whole. So your calories, again, come from carbohydrates, proteins, and fats from a variety of foods. You also need vitamins and minerals. You can get them from a bottle, but it's much better to get them from the foods that you eat. Fluids are super important, and the older you get, the more important it is to make sure that you maintain your good fluid status. And fluids are important to maintain all of your vital bodily functions. And then the most important to me is that food should be for enjoyment. Your nutrition should, sitting down to eat a meal, whether it's that quick little yogurt cup that you ate and a half a banana and a cup of coffee, it should be enjoyable. Something that you like, something that you enjoy, something that fills you up, gives you pleasure. So I spend a lot of my time as a dietitian trying to customize the menus for people who they might be on a restrictive diet for a disease condition, but I still want them to have enjoyment, some satisfaction from their meals. So we'll just talk about different ways to eat well and age well. One of the first things I like to talk about is putting color on your plate. So if you look at your plate, it's really nice to see a rainbow of colors. Your colorful fruits and vegetables is where you get most of the colors from your rainbow. And these fruits and vegetables are really important components of a healthy diet. They contain antioxidants. And antioxidants are like little cleaning things that kind of float around in your body, and they help to trap free radicals and wastes and things that your body really doesn't need well to help try to keep your body clean, prevent damage to your organs. Again, there's no perfect superfruit. I keep hearing that blueberries are a superfruit, certain foods are superfruits. All fruits and vegetables in different combinations are just wonderful to do. And there's so many of them to go from. So you have your blue and purple fruits and vegetables, you have your yellow and orange fruits and vegetables. Some of the health benefits from them are with your memory function, your urinary tract function. I'm sure many of you have heard about, I need to drink cranberry juice because of urinary tract health. It's typically not only the antioxidants in the cranberries or cranberry juice, but the high amount of vitamin C in the cranberry juice is also very helpful. So again, your blue and purple vegetables, your yellow and orange vegetables, they are providing you with a lot of different nutrients, both vitamins, minerals, and fiber. All of those are super important in your diet. Each color contributes different things to your diet. You also have your yellow and green fruits and vegetables, and I'm looking at things like avocados, honeydew melon, kiwis, artichokes, cabbage, green peppers. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you have a different color. Your red vegetables like your tomatoes, your beets, those are a superfood. I actually think beets are superfood. But all the different colors of red in your diet, and they all contribute different key properties. So variety is the key when you're picking your fruits and vegetables. Your fruits and vegetables also provide essential micronutrients. And when I talk about micronutrients, I'm talking about your vitamins and minerals. So carbohydrates, calories, and fats, which provide your energy, those are your macronutrients. Those are the big nutrients. The micronutrients are things that you need in very small quantities in your body, but you need them. And without them, you suffer deficiencies, and deficiencies lead to other issues. So your micronutrients are all your vitamins and your minerals. So your fruits and vegetables are where you're getting the majority of your vitamin C, your vitamin A, folic acid, potassium, calcium. I bet there's several of you who say, yeah, I have to eat a banana every day for my potassium, because bananas are such a great source of potassium. They could prevent you from having to take a potassium pill if you have a good source of potassium in your diet. Zinc, phosphorus, magnesium, all of those micronutrients are found in your fruits and vegetables. And they're also an excellent source of dietary fiber. And we all need extra fiber in our diet, especially as you get older. Everything kind of slows down and get a little bit more sluggish. So adding fresh fruits and vegetables, or even canned fruits and vegetables, or frozen fruits and vegetables, it really doesn't matter. There's been a lot of studies out there that some of the frozen vegetables, they retain their nutrient content better than some of your fresh vegetables, which they start to deteriorate as they sit in your refrigerator. Those frozen vegetables that you can use year-round are a great source of nutrients as well. All right, we're going to move on to fluids. So water is an essential nutrient. You need water. Does that mean you have to drink water all day long? No, because water makes up, like fruits and vegetables, some of your fruits and vegetables are 80 to 90% water. Like watermelon is 90% water. So some of the foods you eat give you water, but you do need to drink water in addition to the foods and fluids that you eat. About 60% of your weight is water. And a good estimate of how much water you need, this is just a little rule of thumb, is a half an ounce of water for every pound of weight. So if you weigh 120 pounds, half 120 is 60. That's 60 ounces of water today. If you're a 200-pound person, that's about 100 ounces of water a day. So just trying to figure it out. Again, it doesn't mean you have to walk around with a 100-ounce jug of water and drink from that all day, because you probably had a cup of coffee. You probably had a cup of tea. Those are all water. You've had milk. It's 98% water. You've had something to eat, something to drink. So you don't have to drink that volume of water, but you want to be conscious of the amount of water that you need a day. Thirst is an early sign of dehydration. Some older adults do not sense thirst quite as well as you do when you're younger. You know, the kids walk in the house, I'm thirsty, I'm thirsty, I'm thirsty. Older adults tend to not feel thirst, and by the time they feel thirsty, you probably have already needed something to drink. So once you've noticed thirst, you're not dehydrated, but you could use some fluids. So it's always good to have just a cup of fluid available, whether it's cold fluid in the refrigerator, something cold bottled water in your fridge, having a cup of coffee or tea with your meals, taking sips of your beverages as you drink, a cold glass of milk. Chocolate milk counts too. If you're not a big water drinker, throw a couple berries or some slices of citrus in your water. Keep cold water in the fridge. When you open up your fridge to snack on something, say, oh, water. Take it down, pour yourself a bowl of water. Something like soup, especially in these winter months, enjoying a bowl of soup, that's a good source of fluids as well. So keep an eye on your fluid content. If you find that you feel thirsty, then you probably should have already had something to drink. So go ahead and drink something else. And I also know that a lot of my elderly clients here, they tend not to drink later in the day. There's the issue with, well, I don't want to have to get up at night to use the bathroom or this and that. So knowing that you might restrict your fluids near the end of the day, make sure that you drink your fluids during the day. So during the evening, you can cut back a little bit. The next thing we're going to talk about are fibers and whole grains. So the recommendations for fiber in your diet every day have increased to about 30 to 45 grams of fiber each day in your diet. It can be hard to eat 30 to 45 grams of fiber every day in your diet if you don't include whole grains into your diet. And when I say whole grains, when you look at the ingredient label, say on a loaf of bread, the first ingredient you want to see is whole grain wheat, whole grain rye, whole grain whatever. Those are the whole grains. And when you increase your dietary fiber, if you're not a big fiber eater and you're thinking, all right, that dietitian said I should have more fiber, I'm going to go ahead and have more fiber, make sure you drink. When you add fiber to your diet, you need to add fluid to your diet. If not, you could have the exact opposite effect of what you're hoping for, because fiber can be a little bit hard to get moved through the stomach and down through the intestines, so a lot of fluid to help keep things moving. But increasing your fiber intake has really shown to help lower your cholesterol. If you have a problem with high cholesterol, helps control your blood sugar. It helps to control it in the way that it takes your body quite a bit longer to digest foods that are whole grains and whole fibers, so your blood sugars don't shoot up quite as high. They kind of go up at a smaller peak and valley, as opposed to if you eat something that's very low in fiber, like a piece of white bread or just white rice, your blood sugar will go up quite quickly. But if you maybe switch to brown rice or the whole grain bread, you'll see a little bit slower rise and fall of your blood sugars. And it helps to maintain bowel function, and that's very important for all ages in life. But again, as you get older, everything kind of slows down a little bit. So maintaining just normal bowel function is very important. It's not something that a lot of people are comfortable talking about, but it's one of the many questions I ask. When I do a nutrition interview with somebody, I typically ask about that. So it is important. It can also lower your risk for any form of GI cancer. Fresh fruits and vegetables, legumes such as navy beans, garbanzo beans, kidney beans, lentil beans, all of those are excellent sources of fiber. Any type of cereal that has bran, whether it's Raisin Bran, Bran Flakes, look for that word 100% there. Popcorn. Popcorn's a great high fiber snack if you like popcorn. Or peanuts, any type of nuts would be good. So if you like those type of foods, those are quick, easy ways to add protein to your diet. And some of those plant proteins, like the garbanzo beans, the navy beans, the kidney beans, those are good protein sources as well as good fiber sources. So those are really important to include in your diet if you like those types of foods. Broccoli is a great source of fiber. Berries, any type of berries. An avocado, of all things, is quite high in fiber, but you'd have to eat a whole avocado, and what comes along with that avocado is a lot of calories from fat, but it tastes awful good. And popcorn, dried fruits, any of your dates or figs, prunes, things like that, all good sources of fiber for you. Fat is not an enemy. Fat is good. You need fat in your diet. Your body needs fat to transport fat-soluble vitamins. So a lot of you probably take vitamin D, but the 4 fat-soluble vitamins are vitamins A, D, E, and K. Those vitamins don't get to where they need to be in your body without fat to help transport them. So those are fat-soluble vitamins. They dissolve in fat and they work in fat. Fat's essential for your skin, your nervous system, your brain. So you do need fat in your diet, and it's also an excellent source of calories. What you want to do is choose a healthy fat. And there's so many of them out there to choose from. So what I tell people is to find a good, healthy, monounsaturated oil that they like, whether it's olive oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, and just stick with that. You want to stay away from like your fats that are solid at room temperature, like lard. I don't think many people cook in lard anymore, but those solid vegetable shortenings, you just kind of want to stay away from. And fats also add a lot of flavor to your foods. So sometimes I'll try some of the newer oils that are out, like avocado oil, or if I'm cooking some type of stir fry, I'll use just a little bit of sesame oil or walnut oil or some of those exotic oils that you don't use a lot of, but just a tiny bit, just to add so much flavor, and it just really spices up your dish. So butter, it used to be, no butter, you have to use margarine. And then after lots of years of study, they realized that margarine, even though it's nice because it spreads so much, the process of what they do to make margarine kind of causes some people to have trouble with their fat and cholesterol levels. So basically, if you like butter, you like margarine, use what you like, but just use what you need, for the flavor or the taste, but you don't want to go overboard with that. I get a lot of questions about salt. People will ask me all the time. I have high blood pressure, so I'm not allowed to eat any salt. Salt, again, it's an essential mineral. You need salt for your body to function. You can get plenty of salt from the foods that you eat without adding salt to your food. But does that mean you can't add salt to your food? What I tell people is if you need salt for like palatability, or that's what tastes good, like say a hard-boiled egg. A lot of people love hard-boiled eggs, but just with a little bit of sprinkle of salt tastes a little bit better. Where you want to watch out for the salt is in your processed foods, especially your ultra-processed foods. So processed foods are going to be your lunch meats, like your bolognas and your salamis. It's going to be a lot of your canned foods, canned soups, your snack foods, your pretzels, potato chips, the pre-popped popcorn in the bags, anything that has added cheese coating to it. Those are all going to be big sources of salt in your diet. It doesn't mean you can't have them. It's just a meal that it's just more like a snack, a small amount that you want to have. And it's much easier to cook without salt and add a little bit than to just cook with all that salt and realize that you made it too salty. It's a little hard to take the salt out of food. So try to look for foods that are less processed. The less processed, the lower amount of sodium it has. Try to skip the salt shaker until you taste your food first. Try alternate seasonings, lemon, lime, pepper, vinegar. There's so many seasonings out there. It's fun. And just try to eat as minimally processed as you can. Talk a little bit about protein. So many of the people that I work with or residents that I talk to, they're very fixated on protein. Oh, I need protein. I need a lot of protein in my diet. You do need protein in your diet. You definitely need protein in your diet. We all do, for muscles, for building, for repair, all that stuff. If you have any type of wounds or injuries, protein, we usually give extra protein there. What you want to do is you want to look for lean proteins, proteins without extra fats or extra breadings and things on them, and then have an amount of it that's comfortable for you, that you feel good with. So for most people, a portion size of a protein's about the size of the palm of your hand or a deck of cards. That's a good, decent sized protein thing. I think when we get a little bit later in the slides, you'll see some of the portions that have gotten so huge anymore that the amount of protein on the plate is just huge. But you definitely do need protein in your diet. You just might not need quite as much as you think you do. But just pick the leaner proteins if you can. If you have a choice between baked fish or fried fish, go with the baked fish. The chicken, I typically cook the chicken with the skin on and then maybe pull the skin off. It makes the chicken stay a little bit moister, but you definitely need proteins, but not in these large volumes that you read about a lot anymore as far. Okay. Eggs. Eggs used to get a very bad rap, but they are a great source of protein. When I was starting out as a dietitian in the 80s, and I worked at a hospital and I had a cardiac unit, and I would go in and give a lot of diet education, and I just had a list of foods that people shouldn't eat because they just had a heart attack or they had heart surgery, and eggs was the number one thing on the list. They had to limit them to 3 or less a week because of all the cholesterol. And now we know through many years of study that your cholesterol and your lipids in your body, it's affected by the total amount of fat you take in, not from that egg. It's the total amount of fat in your diet. So if you have trouble with high cholesterol levels or high triglyceride levels, you need to look at the total amount of fat in your diet, not just one certain food. And eggs are a relatively inexpensive, excellent source of protein. And if you are worried about the cholesterol or the fat, the egg white is where all the protein is, and the egg yolk is where the fat and the cholesterol is. So maybe make yourself like an egg sandwich or an omelet with 2 egg whites and 1 egg yolk. Or when you make yourself some egg salad, that's a great little high protein snack or lunch, to have. Make your egg salad with half as many yolks as you do the whites. So you get that nice protein benefit from the egg and maybe not as much fat. But you really don't need to avoid eggs in your diet like we used to tell people so many times ago. Dairy foods, milk and dairy foods are not just for kids. When you're a kid, always told drink your milk, you gotta drink your milk. As an adult, I've noticed a lot of my seniors, they don't drink a lot of milk. But dairy foods, especially milk in particular, are just excellent sources of calcium and vitamin D. And those are two essential ingredients or nutrients as you get older. They maintain the strength of your bones as well as your teeth. So when you're a young child growing up, you need the calcium and vitamin D to grow your bones. You need that. As you get older, you need the calcium and vitamin D to stop the loss of bone, because your bone is constantly turning over. So unless you're replenishing it with that calcium, which is a mineral, and vitamin D, which is obviously a vitamin, those two things work together to help replace that bone loss. So calcium and vitamin D are very important. Calcium also has an extra role in blood pressure and nerve function and blood clotting, but the most important thing for the seniors, the calcium and vitamin D, is with your bone growth. I have found that most doctors, that's the one thing that they'll almost always recommend for almost all older seniors is get a vitamin D level, and most of them are on some type of calcium and vitamin D supplement. But you would need to drink about 3 to 4 good sources of calcium a day. The best sources are the ones that come from dairy. So your yogurt, your milk, your natural cheeses. You can get dairy from like canned salmon, ice cream, frozen yogurt, some of your dark green leafy vegetables, but your best concentrated source of calcium would be from anything that originally came from milk. So any of your milks or yogurts, things made from milk. When you're selecting dairy products, you're gonna wanna look for low fat or the lowest fat milk or dairy product that you enjoy. So if you don't like skim milk, if it tastes like white water to you, then don't drink skim milk for the vitamin D and calcium. Try 1% or 2% milk and see if you like that a little bit better. There's nothing wrong with chocolate milk if you like your milk a little bit sweeter. If you're lactose intolerant or milk kind of upsets your stomach a little bit, try the lactate milk. And if that doesn't work for you, they also have all the plant-based milks. The plant-based milks do need to be fortified in order to be considered like a good source of calcium in dairy. So when you look at your soy, you have almond milk, you have all kinds of different milks. You want to look for a milk that's been fortified with calcium and dairy. And you also want a milk that you actually enjoy and that you like to drink. So another good source of calories or a good healthy snack for us are nuts. So nuts contain antioxidants. They do contain fats. They also contain a lot of different minerals. And just a little one ounce serving of nuts, like one of those little snack packs, those are something that can help fill you up. They're a good source of protein, just something to have during the day, an excellent source of fiber. And my go-to breakfast every morning is a peanut butter sandwich. I tend to eat that as I drive to work, so I have the nuts on it and on a piece of whole grain bread, but that's a very good, excellent snack, or even just a little luncheon meal for somebody. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of peanut butter or nuts in your diet. And then one of the last things I wanted to talk about was portions and portion control. So in the past 20 years, our portion sizes have just become enormous in the United States. And this might not be a problem for most of you, that you have a problem with your weight. But if you do have a problem with your weight, or you want to keep your weight under a healthy body weight, take a look at the portions. So some of the things, like you'll see on this slide, like a typical bagel 20 years ago was about 140 calories. Now they're about 350 calories. If you look at the size of the bagels that they used to sell versus what you can buy from like the Paneras and the places nowadays, they're just huge. A cheeseburger, an average cheeseburger has gone from about 300 calories to about 570 calories. So again, if you don't have to worry about your calories or your portions, that's great. But if you are looking at portions, probably one of the best things to do is if you're eating out, just take half of it and set it aside, and that you know you're going to take that home for you. Look at a serving and learn to eyeball them, like when I talked before about a serving of protein, about the size of the deck of cards for your hand. So if you're getting a piece of chicken that covers the whole plate, that's probably more than a portion typically. Serving of vegetables is about a cup. An ounce of cheese is about the size of your thumb. And you also want to check the food label for the correct portion. So some of these bags of chips, you think to yourself, oh, well, it's only 180 calories for this bag of chips. But then when you read it, you realize that, well, there's 2.5 servings in this bag of chips. So if you consume the whole bag, you're going to eat way more than 180 calories. And again, if you have no problems with your calories, you're maintaining a healthy weight, then you don't have to worry about it as much. But if it's something that you struggle with, or you're a diabetic and you really need to watch your amount of carbs and calories, really keep a close eye on those portions. I get a lot of questions about vitamins and minerals, and do I need a vitamin or a mineral supplement? So a daily multivitamin, it's kind of like a little insurance pill for the days maybe you don't eat well, or you know you're going to skip meals. You can go quite a long time missing a certain vitamin or mineral in your diet before there's a deficiency, but the goal is to not do that. Pills don't replace food. You still need all the fiber and the calories and the energy from the foods that you eat, but a multivitamin supplement, we never say no. If that's something that you typically take at home, then by all means, still take your multivitamin and mineral supplement. One supplement that most older adults almost always should consider is the calcium and vitamin D that we talked about a little bit earlier. One of the best sources of vitamin D is just being out in the sun. And especially in the winter months, or as we get older, we're not out in the sun. We don't soak up that vitamin D through the sun. So ask your doctor about a good calcium and vitamin D supplement for yourself. I'm hoping that what you heard is that there's no good foods or bad foods. You want variety in your diet, a variety of fruits and vegetables to give you all the antioxidants and the vitamins and minerals we talked about. You want to make sure you drink enough fluid. Water's a very important nutrient, but you can get it in lots of different varieties, including healthy fats in your diet, choosing leaner cuts of meats or lower fat dairy products just to kind of keep your calories under control, and then talking to your doctor maybe about a calcium or vitamin D supplement just to make sure that you're all set.
I hope you all enjoyed Carol's talk today. Carol, thank you so much for sharing all of the information on how we can eat well and age well. You gave us lots of great tools to use, so we really appreciate that. Now we're going to switch gears to cooking on a budget. How do we cook on a budget? How do we know what to shop for? And we brought in one of our executive chefs to share a great demonstration of a recipe that you can make at home on a budget.
Hi, my name is Shelley Funt. I'm the executive chef at Carroll Lutheran Village in Westminster. And today I'm here to talk about budget-friendly, healthy foods. We're going to talk today about some of the recipes that I've prepared here today. And how to keep your grocery bill down when you go shopping. So the first thing I have is a frittata. It fills you up. You can do all kinds of different things with it, but what I have here is some very simple, inexpensive ingredients. So I have some mushrooms, some tomato, I have some diced pepper and some broccoli. This one I'm just going to do a veggie frittata. So we're going to cook our mushrooms. We're going to add the rest of our ingredients. We've got some pepper here, some broccoli, and some diced tomato. And these are all ingredients that you can keep in your fridge, and they have multiple uses. So you can add them to a salad maybe the next day, or you could put them in a stir fry, or just steam them on the stove. So we've got our veggies cooked. I'm going to turn the heat off, and we're going to put our scrambled egg in there, and then it's very simple. You can either take this pan, put it in the oven, or you can cover it and cook it on the stove until it's cooked the whole way through. We are next going to make a chili. We have some diced onion that we used. We've got some paprika, and we've got some black beans. So we're going to put the beans in our pan, and kidney beans in there. Also, we have some white beans here too, and these are dried beans. And these dried beans are less expensive normally than the canned beans, and they're super easy. All you have to do is soak them in water overnight. And our chili is cooking, so we're going to put some of those spices in there, the cumin and the paprika, some garlic. Stir that up. I'm just going to let that simmer. And we have sweet potato, which I purchased one sweet potato and just baked it in the oven. Very simple and very inexpensive. And we'll just dice it up. So we have our diced sweet potato. We're going to add that into our chili. And we have some tomato sauce. And then you're just going to let this simmer for about 20 minutes. When it's cooked, this reheats very well. And you're going to serve it. You can serve it with a little bit of cheese on. You can serve it with some sour cream. I personally like mine with cheese, and it makes a great meal. Inexpensive and full of protein and very healthy. The next recipe that we're going to work on are some stuffed peppers. And this doesn't take long at all. It's a very simple recipe. And again, we have replaced the expensive proteins with some beans. But they taste delicious and they're very simple. Peppers at the grocery store, sometimes you can find them when they're on sale, buy them on sale. So for our peppers, I just like to cut those in half. Always wash your produce. Cut your peppers in half. You're going to sit it in your pan. And these are great. They can be baked a day ahead, and then you can reheat them in the microwave if you're in a hurry. And they're pretty simple to make for like a one-person kind of dish. They also freeze very well. So we've got our peppers there. And again, I'm going to be using the kidney beans and the black beans. And this is super easy. I've got some rice here, some steamed rice, just plain white rice. And a word about rice. You know, you can go to the grocery store and they have the rice packets with the seasoning in and everything. You don't need to buy that. You can buy a nice big bag of rice, a pound of rice, and add your own seasonings. It saves you money because you're not paying for the packaging and you're not paying for the seasoning. And when you're seasoning it at home, you can avoid all that salt too. So we're going to add some black beans. This is our protein part. We're going to put some kidney beans in there too. And your rice, and we'll do a little bit of seasoning. So we'll put some cumin and some onion. And these are your staple grocery items. So onions, potatoes, things like that you should keep in the refrigerator. And they do last quite some time, so you don't have to worry about waste. A little bit of smoked paprika in there. And our tomato sauce. I always like to buy low sodium tomato sauce. You're going to mix that up just like you would if you were making your stuffed peppers with ground beef. And it's a good idea if you're trying to save money when you go to the grocery store is cut back on the proteins that you're purchasing. Proteins are the most expensive items that you have. So cut those back. Maybe eat meatless 2 or 3 times a week. So we'll stuff our peppers here. These smell amazing when they're baking in the oven. And they're very filling. You just want to stuff them with your mixture. And then I like to put a little cheese on before it goes in the oven. Top it with a little cheese. And then I cover it and bake it in your oven at 350 till it's hot, about 165 degrees. Very nice dish. Looks kind of fancy. You can serve it with some warm tomato sauce on the plate. Like I said, they freeze great. You can make a small batch, put them in the freezer and pull them out, for a quick meal when you don't have time to cook or you don't feel like cooking. Inexpensive as well. So another thing I like to do is I like to use my old bananas. You go to the store, you buy a bunch of bananas, you eat them for your breakfast, you put them in your yogurt or your cereal, and then you have a couple left that are black. Well, guess what? You don't have to throw those in the trash. We're gonna smash it up and put it in a freezer bag and use it for either a smoothie, or you can mash it up real good with a little bit of sugar and put it in a pancake mix, and you can put that in a Ziploc bag, stick it in your freezer, pull it out the next time you're going to make some pancakes, or you're going to make a smoothie, or you're going to make some banana bread, or maybe some muffins or something like that. So we don't want to waste that. And this freezes very well. We all go to the grocery store and we see the bags of lettuce in there. You get them home and you open them, and guess what? They're brown a day or two later. So we have some leaf lettuce here. You can get any kind of lettuce. You can get bib lettuce, you can get romaine lettuce, you can get butter lettuce. And that keeps in your fridge much, much longer than the bags of lettuce that's pre-cut. So I purchased a head of lettuce. We made a beautiful little salad here. Cucumbers, tomatoes, those keep in your fridge as long as they're uncut. Cut them the day of. A lot of times you can go to the store and you can find some inexpensive tomatoes that are good quality. I know the vine ripe ones are really nice, and that's great, and they last longer in your fridge as well. So we've made a homemade salad dressing, because guess what? The salad dressing in the grocery stores, super expensive, especially some of the well-known brands. So what we did today is we made a French dressing, and there's so many different ones you can make. So we always have staples in our homes, in our cabinets and refrigerators. We always have mayonnaise or some type of mayonnaise. Mostly we have vinegar, some kind of vinegar. Red wine vinegar, white vinegar would work fine. Apple cider vinegar would work as well. But what we're going to do today is we're going to make our own dressing. Now, your own dressing is great. It's healthy. You know what you're putting in it. This stuff in the grocery stores, not so healthy. We have some ketchup here, which most people keep as a staple in their refrigerator. So we're just going to make a really easy French dressing. You can make all kinds of different stuff. You can make a Thousand Island. You can make a Greek dressing. It's all pretty much basically the same ingredients. So we'll put some mayonnaise in here because this is going to be a creamy one. I have just a tiny bit of Worcestershire sauce and some apple cider vinegar. And we put a little bit of sugar in. And super easy. Make your own French dressing. So if you go to the grocery store and you really want to get protein and you want to get some chicken, a lot of times you can find it on sale. A lot of times you can find it in a bigger bulk. The bigger the package, usually the less expensive it is. So I have gotten a big container of chicken legs and thighs, and I've roasted those off. So maybe what you could do is you could roast those for your dinner, put the rest in the freezer just like this, or you could put these in a pot on the stove in some water and cook them down, and you would have broth. But this would work great for the next day. put it in your refrigerator, and then the next day you could pull this apart and put this chicken on your salad, or you could make some enchiladas, and this freezes well, so you don't want to waste it. You could make your own soup with this, with the broth that you cooked the chicken in. So, so you still have your proteins. And it's just about, developing a good system that works for you, and sticking to a budget that works for you without wasting food. So this works great. I put this in freezer bags before and froze it and pulled it out and made like a chicken and dumpling, or just heated it up and put it on a salad if that's what you want to do. But it's really, you just got to put some thought into it and think about what you like and what are the items you like and what can work for you, and cut back on the pre-purchased stuff, frozen foods like frozen lasagnas and stuff. You can make something really easy at home that's much less expensive. The USDA has a great website that talks about the cost of food and helps you with food budgeting. I encourage you to check that out as well. If you want to incorporate, meals that include a protein, save those purchases for your special events. So maybe you have family coming over and you want to roast a pork loin, or Thanksgiving turkey. Keep that turkey for your Thanksgiving day, and stay away from the more expensive proteins from the grocery stores during, except for the holidays. Purchase seasonal foods too. In the summer, we purchase berries. That's when they're less expensive. In the middle of January is not a great time to go get blueberries. If you want to purchase blueberries, buy the frozen ones. They're usually less expensive and they probably taste better. So I hope that you enjoyed listening to me talk today, and I hope that these budget-friendly meals gave you some ideas to take home and put together your grocery list and get you motivated to go out and do some cooking, some healthy cooking, and save some money at your grocery store.